right, welcome back to the Krug Show, the Bay Area Sports Rundown. One of my favorite moments of the week when we run down the sports topics with the great Ryan Smith, who's in the house. Getting the chance to watch a little Giants baseball, Giants Marlins. We're coming on and doing a dual post game tonight on the Krug Show. Half Giants, half Warriors. Game one of the NBA Finals coming up later on today. Huge sports day in the Bay, but we are talking Niner football. Rye, I was down in Santa Clara yesterday for minicamp, little OTA action, putting my eyes on it for the very first time, and so I'm excited. We're going to do a Bay Area sports rundown, all Niners, top to bottom, huh?
Oh, yeah, all Niners. I mean, what are we going to do? Giants game's still going on, Warriors, everything that has been said that needs to be said. Let's just play the game. So let's talk Niners.
Let's do it.
All right. First question. What were you watching for when you sorry, I kind of worded that incorrectly, but like what is it that you were really watching for when you were there?
Well, I mean, I just think that people should know that, what are we really watching in OTAs and minicamp? It's just that. I mean, training camp, you could argue doesn't matter. The preseason matters. Obviously, the regular season matters a ton. But what are you doing in the minicamps? What are you doing in the OTAs? You're just taking inventory, right? You're just taking inventory on your personnel. Who you going to invite to camp? You're checking with your players. You're kind of checking in on them. You're mixing the veterans and the rookies together for the first time. And it's May, right? Now early June. You're shaking off the rust. It's the first time you're seeing the field together as a full team since training. Training camp's like still over a month away. But it's been about 3 months since you had your whole team together. You lost some guys. You added some guys. So it's most of your team. And you're starting to learn your schemes a little bit. You're starting to learn what is 49er language. And you're meeting your new players. Niners have a whole group of assistant coaches that are new. So you're meeting your new assistant coaches. But I guess my point is just that many key 49ers were either not there altogether or weren't practicing. No Bosa, no Drake Jackson, no Fred Warner, no Trent Williams, no Ty Davis Price yesterday, no Deebo Samuel, no Azeez Al-Shaair. I mean, you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys that really aren't there. So it's not your full team. You're just trying to shake off the rust, kind of take inventory on where you're at, and get some momentum going for training camp.
Yeah, awesome. Honestly, I never necessarily knew what OTAs were. I just knew that the big stars missed them, or whoever's trying to hold out. So that's a good explanation. All right, big number 2 question. Who stood out?
Well, so let's start off on the offensive side. I thought the rookie receivers really looked good. Tay Martin, not just the rookie receivers, Tay Martin, Marcus Johnson, who was like kind of an understated free agent. He obviously has a ton of speed. Ray McLeod made a number of really interesting catches. And I think Ray, if he can hold on to the football, could be a huge, huge asset for the 49ers. Keyshawn Johnson, Tayseer Mack, a little bit to a lesser degree. Wide receivers. They got a deep group of wide receivers, and the competition is going to be fierce in July. And then I thought offensive line-wise, Spencer Burford, the draft pick out of University of Texas, San Antonio, Jason Poe, who's an undrafted player out of Mercer, and Nick Zakel, the Fordham offensive lineman, who was a day 3 pick. All 3 of those guys really stood out to me. Burford's got a phenomenal build for offensive line. Just needs to get a little bit more experience, a little stronger, put on a little weight. He looks really intriguing. And then Jason Poe is strong. I mean, he's really strong. He can lock out. He's got great athleticism. He's just short. He's a shorter. I mean, he really stands out because of his lack of height. But man, everything besides the height is almost exactly what you want to see from an interior player. And then Nick Zakel clearly likes to get after it. He was throwing those hands around, and he just looked really, really strong. And then running back wise, Jordan Mason, a running back out of Georgia Tech, 225 pounds, and he looked really, really quick. He caught a pass out of the backfield. I thought he looked really, really good. And then on the backside, some of those young DBs, Quantrez Knight from UCLA, Samuel Womack, the corner from Toledo, Tariq Castro Fields, the corner from Penn State. All those guys guys flashed athleticism. Womack has a strut. I mean, he really is cocky and confident. And then, the Niners have so much speed at linebacker, and they added more. Marcelino McCrary-Ball played the inside backer spot at Indiana. He was flying around making plays. Segun Alubi, who played linebacker at San Diego State. I mean, just watching him move. I mean, he's sub 4.5. I mean, like 4.45 speed. So to me, there's it's all, you could always overreact to minicamp, but that's who basically stood out athletically, those guys.
Okay, awesome. And then moving on, battle to watch for. I think we all love talking about, I think Bosa loves to praise Trent Williams. Trent Williams loves to trade Bosa. That's the big time matchup. But what is it that you're looking forward to?
Well, I mean, just the position battle, I think that's really going to be interesting with the 49ers this summer is the number 2 tight end. I mean, you have George Kittle. He's your number 1. But they brought in Tyler Kroft. And Kroft is a young veteran who has some experience. And then you've got Charlie Warner, who's he's a try-hard blocker and will kind of get after it. Doesn't really move people in the run game, but really is a high-effort blocker. Then you got Ross Dwelly, who's got really good ball skills and can catch the ball in a crowd. They got Troy Fumagalli in this camp as well. Fumagalli, I should say, the former Wisconsin tight end, who's I think missing a finger, but he's an intriguing tight end prospect. And they've got other guys, Tanner Hudson. So I mean, we know Kittle's going to be the number 1. But who's the number 2 tight end here? Is it Kroft? Is it Warner? Is it Dwelly? Is it Fumagalli? I mean, I think that spot's wide open. And in an era where teams use 2 tight end sets a lot, that person could be kind of a key cog. So I think that's kind of the battle to watch. That, at least on paper, is looking like it could be a very competitive situation because Kroft is a young veteran who's kind of established in the league, and Warner and Dwelly are young tight ends with different skills. I mean, Warner can catch a little bit, but really is tenacious when he locks on as a run blocker. And then Dwelly, if you're just looking for that 2 tight end set and you want a receiver, he's got the best ball skills. He's not going to be a great blocker, especially against defensive ends with any kind of power. But, he's interesting. And then the Wisconsin kid's interesting. So, I mean, that battle this summer could be good.
Yeah. What's interesting, we never really talked about them getting Kroft. Like that move kind of slid under the radar. I mean, he's the kind of guy that I think everybody that's played fantasy footballs maybe dabbled with Kroft when he's got caught, a little bit hot with touchdowns. I mean, what kind of player is Kroft? Like I know he's kind of younger. He's a pass catch. Like what would you envision?
I would say he's more of a receiver than a blocker. Like, he seems kind of angular. He's got good hands. I saw him make a couple nice catches. I would say, his greater strength is his receiving ability than his blocking ability. But I think he might be, a better blocking version of Dwelly. I would say, if I was Dwelly, I would work on my blocking because this guy got ball skills as well, but he's a better blocker than you. I mean, if you're Dwelly's he really lacks some strength at the point as a blocker. And I think we saw him get exposed a little bit from even by speed rushers as a pass blocker. And you don't want to get Trey Lance killed, So
yeah. I thought that was a big thing in the Arizona game is not having Kittle because there was a lot of blocks that Dwelly missed.
Yeah, and also so many teams love that 2 tight end set. So
it seems like Shanahan's been clamoring for that now for a while. You always hear his name. You heard rumors about Austin Hooper. You've heard him. Seems like he's interested in that, but he's not going to spend crazy amount of money for it. But he's been interested in it for sure.
Yeah, and then it's a matter of how do you want to run it? Do you want to go a 2 tight end set with Warner and have your 2 best blockers out there, and maybe Warner improves as a receiver, or do you want somebody who's really a sticky fingered receiver like a Dwelly or a Kroft, who you might be giving away a little bit of you're at least giving away something in the run game as a blocker. So that's interesting. Then there's Jordan Matthews as well. We should probably mention him. He's a former NFL wide receiver, and just watching him in minicamp, he's definitely put on some upper body weight. I mean, he looks like he's been throwing the weights around, and getting stronger. And maybe Jordan Matthews is the answer, because he probably has better receiving skills than both Croft or Dwelly. And it's just a matter of, can he do anything at the line of scrimmage as far as a blocker? And if he's getting stronger, maybe he can. So another name to add to that mix, but that literally is, Kittle's your starter, but you're looking at 5 or 6 guys, all with a legitimate chance to make the roster at the number 2 tight end spot. And they may only keep 2 tight ends. So that could be a really interesting and a very spirited competition in July.
Oh, that sounds awesome. All right, let's move on to Alex Mack. Alex Mack is officially retiring. I mean, I think we've all been speculating, and that's the way things have been leaning. I've been reading, hearing, listening to a lot of different people who think a lot of different things about this center spot for the 49ers. So I'd be very interested to see your take on it, and if you saw anything new at camp that maybe changed your mind.
I think they're going to go with one of the veterans. I mean, a lot of people don't know the name Jake Brendel, but he's well thought of by the 49ers. Chris Forster is the offensive line coach, and they like Brendel. They like, and he's probably the most experienced of the group outside of Brunskill. They also have the ability to slide Brunskill from right guard, where he started the last year, to center. I think it's probably going to be one of those 2 guys, right? I really do. I mean, they have other options. Donovan West from Arizona State is in minicamp, and he'll be in training camp this summer. Jason Poe from Mercer. I would say there's an outside shot that he could step in. And I also think that if you do see Brunskill, let's just say they went with Brunskill and they moved Brunskill from right guard to center. I think Nick Zakel, of the offensive lineman that I saw yesterday at minicamp, I would say he looks like the guy who would be ready to play soonest. Now, I know he played at Fordham, but he's really tough. He's really smart. He's an academic all-conference guy. He likes to get after it. And he just, to me, looks like a guy who could play right guard for a decade. You know what I mean? He's not Quentin Nelson. I'm not trying to confuse him with any blue chip guys. But as far as, they may have found something smart, tough, maybe assignment sound. I like what I saw on the field from Nick Zakel, and I could see them plugging him in more comfortably at right guard and moving Brunskill from right guard to center than plugging Zakel in at center. But Who knows? I would not be surprised, though, if center and right guard were manned by Brunskill and Zakel.
Either way, it seems like we've added just a ton of depth, which is just fantastic, especially young depth.
Yeah, no question.
You want to maybe pay the bills? And also, I want to tease, I do have some photos. I do have some of Larry's photos from camp. Sorry if my eyes looked like they were glossing over. I was putting that together real quick because it can only take you have to upload them as a slideshow. So
let's do that. We'll take some photos. We'll pay some sponsors and pay some bills and introduce people to our sponsors. We'll come back. We'll have a couple more takeaways from OTAs. Maybe even mix in a little bit on Trey Lance. Who knows? It's all straight ahead. Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the crew. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coach Emilio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number, 925-626-8255. 628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Dan Coach Emilio and all the people at Secure Money for being proud sponsors of The Krug Show. All right, welcome back to The Krug Show. My 12-year-old is saying, Dad, you're nothing without merch. But hey, guess what? We've got merch. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krug Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krug Show t-shirt, the Krug Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krug Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com, often imitated, never equaled. And they are a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to them as well. All right, welcome back to the Krug Show, the Bay Area Sports Rundown, starring Ryan Smith. We hit the chat real quick. Donovan says, pictures of Larry? Oh, my God, we are blessed. Not pictures of me. Come on. I wouldn't put pictures of me up there. We're going pictures of camp, pictures from camp. So, and it wasn't an extensive group of pictures, but I did snap a few at camp.
All right. Yeah. All right. Number one.
There you go. Little huddle, little breakdown of the huddle.
Little huddle.
Like that. All right. A little offensive line kind of gathering in the corner of the field there at the 25-yard line.
Yeah.
Always good to see the offensive line.
Ooh.
There we go. Little O-line drill. Little O-line drill there. That's an excellent picture, an outstanding picture of a coach blocking the pass rush drill, or the pass blocking drill, the run blocking drill.
Who do they get to be these refs? Is this
I don't know, but you know what? One of the refs came up to me and was like, "Hey, Krug, love the show." Swear to you, couldn't believe it. I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, catch you guys all the time on the YouTube." I'm like, "Really? Wow." So that was impressive. Yeah, one of the officials was a fan of the show. All right, some of the pictures from camp.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. Good stuff in Santa Clara.
Exclusive.
Hot Day will be back there Tuesday, the next edition of OTAs.
Okay. And then, all right, we hit who plays center. Also, someone in the chat said, I know we're 49er centric right now, but apparently GP and Iguodala are good to go tonight.
Good deal. We're doing post game tonight, by the way. Check us out after the Warriors. Giants, by the way, down to the Marlins, 1-0 Marlins in the worst looking stadium of all time. The Marlins Stadium, just such trash. It looks so bad on TV. But the Giants are down to the Marlins 1-0. Alcantara's throwing 96 mile an hour changeups. I mean, it's just unbelievable watching Alcantara. But the Giants are threatening in the 2 outs, Jock Peterson on second with Walton at the plate. So we'll talk. We're not going to come on at the end of the Giants game. We're going to wait till the end of the Warrior game 1 of the finals, Warriors-Celtics. And I like the Warriors in 6, but I think they're going to lose game 1. That's kind of my thought on it. I think game 1 goes Boston, game 2 goes Golden State, game 3 goes Warriors, game 4 goes Boston. I think it's 2-2 going to game 5. And then I like Golden State to win 5 and 6 and finish it out in Boston for the title. So I'm going Warriors in 6, but if I had to pick tonight, I'm going to go with the Celtics tonight.
Yep. We've got our little weird bet thing we got set up. All right. Now, this is, again, it's similar to who stood out, but this is number one takeaway from OTAs. I know you've been talking about the secondary.
Well, we could go in a lot of different directions, but I mean, and there were a bunch of guys that weren't there. right there. So you got to factor that in. But the number one takeaway is that the two guys that I thought looked the best are the spot that everybody had all this concern about, and that is the safety tandem of Jimmy Ward and Talanoa Hufanga. Ward looked awesome. I mean, he could play a game this second. I mean, he's flying around. He's in terrific shape. He just looked incredible out there. He looked like he could play Sunday. I mean, he's playing fast. He knows the scheme. He's instinctive. He's in shape. He looks terrific. So he's your free safety. But Talanoa Hufanga, who, was a gold helmet designation in the draft when they took him 2 years ago, this guy gets nothing but better and better and better and better. He was the defensive player of the year in the Pac-12. That's the thing. It's amazing. We get so caught up, Ryan, in measurables that just because he didn't quite have the measurables, he didn't quite have this 40 time, and he wasn't quite as big and as physical as they wanted. He didn't quite fit the NFL perfect box of size and speed for his position coming out. He immediately was like a mid-round pick. He was the defensive player of the year in the Pac-12. And so he's a very good football player. The question was, did he have the measurables to play in the NFL? He demonstrated that he did. He improved from special teamer to contributor from scrimmage to significant player from scrimmage last year, made one of the biggest plays in the NFC NFC divisional round game at Lambeau Field, where he recovered the fumble and scored the touchdown. But he also made a great play late in that game when Rodgers tested him deep middle, and he was there, in the coverage, stride for stride with the receiver. And now here we are in OTAs, and he's had an NFL offseason, and he's quicker, and he's faster, and he knows the defense better, and he's moving more naturally, and he just looks. He doesn't look like, is he a special teamer? No, not a special teamer, starter. And then you're looking at him going, well, wait a second, is he a starter who can't stand up in coverage? Is he going to be below out? He looks faster than last year. And I'm telling you, this guy gets better and smarter. Then we heard D'Amico Ryans talk about him after practice, and he's calling him Huff, and Huff does this and Huff does that. They love him.
Sounds like Loon. Exactly.
They love Huff. And, I love Hufanga as well. I mean, he is tremendous. Football is important to him. Football is what he wants to be great at. Football is what he's obsessed with getting better at. That's what you need. You need guys do you need everybody to be, top of the scale physically? More importantly, you need guys who love the sport and know the game. And especially in the instinctive part of the field, when you're an inside linebacker, when you're a safety and you're reading and reacting and you're pre-snap and your film study, and all that goes into making you literally faster on the field because your recognition's better because you're recognizing things through film study, and your intellect as a player makes you faster, you're not seeing things you haven't seen. You're identifying the patterns. You're recognizing the play pre-snap. You're flowing naturally towards the ball. You're making good decisions. So this guy gets better and better and faster and stronger. And his body is you always rework your body from, you lose a little bit of fat, you gain a little bit of muscle. You're spending more time training. You're a pro now. You're not a college student anymore. You have money to eat the right foods and eat at the right times. And these guys have nutritionists, and they're in the weight room and they're watching. I mean, this guy cares about getting better. And you can see every single time the team reconvenes, he's better. He's better. He was better in November than he was in October. He was better in October than he was in training camp. He was better in the playoffs than he was in November. I mean, and now here we are, another calendar year later. It's May. We're still a couple of weeks from camp, but I'm telling you, free safety and strong safety and safety overall, which last year and going into the draft, you would have thought, oh my goodness, that's the biggest weakness on the team. I'm telling you right now, it may become the biggest strength of this defense. There's corner depth, There's linebacker speed. There's defensive line depth and some big time talent there with Nick Bosa and Eric Armstead. But if you really want to say, where is this team potentially going to change? The safety tandem between Hufanga and Ward as they play together, and as Hufanga gets better and deeper into his career, that right there is going to be the strength of the defense. It's going to be that the strong safety, free safety combo, and even some of the guys they have behind those guys. But I'm mostly talking about Ward and Hufanga. That duo is going to become I don't think they're going to re-sign Jaquiski Tart. If they do, it will be because of an injury and because the deal he just wanted to come back so bad, and he came back for, hardly even market value. They are moving to Hufanga, and it's when you watch him flow and you watch him play out there, it's easy to see why. He's getting better and he's getting faster. And
that's crazy. I was going to ask you, what's the precedent in NFL history for someone actually getting faster, getting quicker? Because people say, you can't teach that. But you're right. I mean, even when he was in the game last year before, it always felt like, they're giving up something in terms of speed back there, but he always seemed to kind of have a nose for the ball. He almost had raw instincts, very good raw instincts for the ball and making big plays. And it's I guess if he just spent, got in the lab and just studied his butt off, and now it's second nature. He doesn't have to think about anything. I could see how, he could get that much faster. And my God, if our secondary is the strength of the team, safeties, in particular, that might be the answer to that our defense is going to be bananas. It's going to be a dominant defense that honestly Trey Lance is just going to have to do it's going to allow Trey Lance to have his struggles, and the defense is going to be able to, kind of carry us through the first half of the year.
Well, don't forget Charvarius Ward at corner, so their biggest addition free agency wise was Ward at the corner, so yeah. And Mosley did not play the nickel. He played outside. So, remember the name Quantrez Knight, because Quantrez Knight and Samuel Womack, I thought both looked outstanding. I mean, those guys were bouncing around. I think those guys are two young DBs to watch this summer in camp. So they're better in the secondary. There's just no question about it. They're going to be an improved team in the secondary. I don't know that they may have a little regression on the front because losing DJ Jones and Arden Key and Kentavious Street, we didn't see Drake Jackson. So there's no question, Drake Jackson's a big part of what they're going to do on the defensive front. But yeah, I think safety is no longer a weakness, very much a strength. Gerardo Sanchez says, Larry, who reminds you of Hufanga? It's interesting. He plays real, I'll say this. We're talking about speed and playing fast. There's a big difference between speed and playing fast. The 49ers didn't go to the Super Bowl because of a slow safety who plays fast named Eric Weddle. That's why they didn't go to the Super Bowl, because Eric Weddle shot in there in a key situation and made some big plays. And he's not fast, but he is smart, and he's effectively fast, because it's like it's like having one guy's got a car, it's a NASCAR, the other guy's got an SUV, but the SUV's got navigation on it, and the NASCAR has no navigation. It's
exactly.
You don't know, you're going somewhere fast, but doesn't mean you're going to the ball fast.
Yeah,
I'll take navigation. These guys there, like Eric Weddle and Hufanga, they have the built-in navigation. They know where to go and when, and they know when they need to get there by. So that's a big part of it. Who does he remind me of? He's unique. I mean, he's really, really fast at the line of scrimmage. So in some ways, he reminds me of all of the best safeties who are great at snuffing out everything within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. He sees it. He sees it clearly pre-snap. He's moving towards the football, and he's a very sure tackler. And then his timing, to me, it's the timing too, because we all know it's about, you get there early, here's the flag, you get there late, and you've allowed the catch. So you got to arrive at the catch point for the collision and for the pass breakup. And some guys just have an uncanny ability to do it, and other guys just never get it right. And this guy has an uncanny ability to do it. He times it perfectly. He's not there 2 steps early, so he doesn't draw the flag. He's not there 2 steps late, so he's not allowing the reception. He's there at the catch point. He's competitive at the catch point. So I love Hufanga, and my only questions were movement ability. But man, you can see 1 year of NFL offseason and 1 year more in this defense, and he's effectively faster because he's identifying and recognizing. His recognition is truer, and it's faster, and it's based on experience and reps, mental reps. So yeah, the kid's amazing, and he's got a great disposition. He respects the hell out of Ward. He respects the hell out of Tart. He mentioned Tavon Wilson. I mean, this is a kid who shows up to learn. I call him a kid, but he's a man. I mean, he shows up to learn. You know, he shows up to get better. Yeah. You know, you talk to Ronnie Lott or any great football player, and they'll tell you they got better, you know, their first day in the league. They got better their last day in the league. You're always learning. You're a student of the game. And when you look at it that way, you know, the arrow's constantly pointing up. You're constantly getting better and more aware. So all I got to say is that I was looking for Hufanga to make that step forward where he played even faster and looked actually physically quicker. And here we are in year 2, and he's doing it. He's there. So if he's fast and playing fast, and you got Jimmy Ward in awesome shape, man, your safety tandem could be the strength of your defense, not a weakness. So that to me was the big number one takeaway, is that those 2 guys looked awesome.
That's excellent to hear. All right, now moving on to the thing that I'm pretty sure everyone in the chat wants to know. You got yourself a look at Trey Lance. I know I'm not going to make any sweeping generalizations off of one OTA, but what'd you think? What'd you think of him today in person?
Well, I mean, please, whoever's producing stats it's nothing worse than OTA stats or 7-on-7 stats. I mean, the stats, I mean, the stats make me laugh. But I will say this, there's a good camaraderie. He looked a little, to be honest, I mean, I'm be totally full disclosure, he looked a little lethargic actually out there. He looked a little like he was, kind of dragging himself through it a little bit, a little low energy. He wasn't like charged up. It wasn't like training camp where he's got everybody and he's clapping it up. It wasn't like that. It was like, all right, we got May minicamp and we're just it's a warm day and everybody's a little bit winded. And so I don't know. I mean, I thought he threw the ball well. I didn't see anything really glaring. I didn't see a lot of completions, big time completions down the field. But you know what? He seemed to be comfortable. He looks like he's in good shape. He seemed like he was in good spirits. He wasn't holding the ball. Last year, there were times where it seemed like his tendency was to want to hold the ball. This time he was letting it go a little bit. There was still some wobble on a few of his passes. It wasn't like he was throwing a perfect spiral every time. But once again, I look at minicamp in 2 fashions. Are you out of shape and ill-prepared? And everything else is a positive. Because it doesn't matter. It's just like we're so far away. You're a full month plus away from training camp. You're multiple months away from the season. You're also shaking off the rust. And most of these guys haven't even played together ever. Some of the rookies are there. The rookies and veterans are mixed for the first time. You're shaking off the rust. You haven't played meaningful football since January. It's just. You do have guys flying around trying to impress, trying to get an invite to camp. So you have different guys with different agendas. But I thought Trey looked good. He looked good. He didn't look like, it wasn't like, wow, this guy's throwing dimes down the field left and right. And but he had a nice little rapport going with Ray McLeod. He hit big play Tay Martin on a couple of nice catch and throws near the sideline. He's got good velocity on his ball. D'Amico said, man, he's zipping it by us. He definitely's got good velocity. There's been some, as you look some of his passes, the ball placement's off by a few feet. I wouldn't say he's the most accurate quarterback I've ever seen, but he wasn't spraying it. It wasn't like he was and the arm strength is clearly there. Anybody who says that have a question about the arm strength, it's like, What? Really? You got a question about the arm strength? The guy throws bullets. So no, I thought overall he looked pretty good. But I'm not the guy to be overly critical of anybody in minicamp because it's minicamp. You know what I mean? And the other thing, it's like I've heard a lot of people talking about, well, we didn't see a lot of Ayuk and we didn't see a lot of Juwan Jennings. A lot of times, you know what you got in those guys, and you only have so many reps to figure out to take inventory on the rest of your team. So sometimes coaches are like, yeah, I want my veterans there just so I can see if they're in decent shape. As far as getting things done on the field, if they get things done, great, but I really just want to see the whole group together, and I want to get a good sense of the inventory that I have in my training camp this summer, so I get a reasonable idea of what my camp's going to look like. So how do you do that? You do that by not throwing the ball to Ayuk and Juwan Jennings. Throw the ball to Tay Martin. Throw the ball to Tayshear Mack. Throw the ball to guys who you've never seen before. And get a good inventory on what you got going to camp. You got plenty of time in camp and in the preseason to get your starting quarterback in a real rhythm with your receivers. As far as Jaguayo 56 donates a couple bucks, says, Crew, biggest impression of the rookies, offense and defense. I would say the offensive line. I was standing near the offensive line. I thought the offensive linemen, Zakel and Poe and Burford, all really look like keepers. I mean, they really did. Schluter, didn't study as much, but those other guys look like NFL offensive linemen to me. So I think that's good. I think they've got some good depth on the offensive line. And then other than that, I thought some of the young DBs, Samuel Womack, Quantrez Knight, maybe to a little bit lesser extent, Tariq Castro Fields. I thought those young DBs looked pretty good. Womack especially. I mean, Womack is a little on the shorter side, like 5'9", 5'10", but this guy might be one of the best athletes on the entire team. I mean, just watching him, you see the swagger, you can see the confidence. He really's got a cockiness about him out there. He thinks he's really good, and that's great because when think about it, you're stepping off the field at the University of Toledo onto a field with NFL players. Some of them are stars, and you're still bouncing around with a ton of swagger. That tells me you're flat out, confident. You got all the confidence you need. You step on an NFL field and you're like prancing around like you're a bad hombre. That stands out. And I saw that from both Quantrez Knight and Samuel Womack. So look for those guys in July. Because and I loved Knight at UCLA. I mean, he was everywhere. He was the alpha in that secondary. He was the guy who got him lined up right. I really liked the addition of Quantrez Knight as an undrafted guy. I don't know what happened in the draft process. Obviously, his workout numbers weren't as good as they needed to be. This guy plays fast. He does, and he breaks down true in open spaces against athletes and brings them to the ground. So I really like Quantrez Knight, and I think Samuel Womack looks like a guy who's going to play this year. He really does. He's quick, he's fast, he's strong. As I said, he seems very confident. I can't wait to see him in the one-on-one drills and in the preseason this summer because everybody's going to see what I saw, which is just here's a guy who really thinks he's good, and that's what you need to be out on the island against NFL caliber athletes and NFL caliber receivers. So to me, those are the rookies that stood out. Appreciate it, Jaguayo. Niner by nature 88. Mr. Kruger will always keep it real. Mr. Kruger, I don't know about that.
Hey.
Donovan says, I'm so excited about the rookie Danny Gray. I am too. He was not out there, by the way. He was not out there yesterday. The Greyhound. Yeah, there you go. You get there fast on the Greyhound. Danny Gray is going to be fun to watch. But, somebody says, does Womack remind you of K'Wan Williams? You know what he reminds me of? He's a better athlete than K'Wan Williams. I would say he kind of reminds me a little bit of he kind of reminds me a little bit of Darrell Green. Darrell Green was 5'8". This guy's maybe a little bit bigger. Darrell Green obviously had historic speed. This guy doesn't look like he's got that kind of speed, but he's a small, compact, very strong, very confident press man corner. Where K1's got a little bit more range to him, like maybe he could play a little safety. He's got a little bit more thickness to him. He's an older guy. He's a veteran guy. K1 is small as well. The thing about K1 is just he's so damn smart and so damn tough, and he's so proven that I'd hate to put Womack. So many of the gifts that K1 has for the game are between the ears. I mean, K1's a genius. I mean, he's courageous. I got to see more from Womack before I'll put genius and courageous behind him. But I'll say this: Womack thinks he's good, and that's a great place to start. Because if you don't think you're good, you have no chance. So if you think you're good, let's start there. So I liked what I saw. Scott Davidson says Darrell Green, that's a huge comp. I'm just saying, body wise, Darrell Green was an incredible athlete and about 5'8". This guy's an incredible athlete as well, and he's 5'9". And you can see the athleticism. It wasn't like this guy made all conference just on effort. This guy's got talent. This guy's got athleticism. This guy's got swagger. I mean, he was coached up, I'm sure, but he made all conference because he's a big time talent, not just because of effort.
Yeah.
Anyway, good stuff though.
Good stuff today, man. This is awesome. I think we're going to be doing a bunch more. We're going to continue doing the Bay Area Sports Live Rundown, but then, with Larry at camp, we got to do at least one of these once a week.
Dude, we'll do a lot of breakdown from camp, and you're going to be hopefully joining me at camp, and it's going to be phenomenal stuff, and we're going to be bringing people a lot of 49er stuff. We'll be back down there Tuesday for the OTAs, and then training camp starts in July, and then, get your wide brimmed hat, so
sombrero.
Yeah, get your sombrero or get whatever you need to block out the sun, because the sun's intense in Santa Clara. And this will be the first time I've been at camp every day in a long time. And I'm somewhat fair. So there's great concern.
I'm a little stoked about that. I might have just an outrageous tan going.
Yeah, seriously. You might have to tan up those calves. You might have to bring extra lotion this year. It could be hot. But that does it for now. And then we're back later today. We got this one, Jeffrey Bond. Love you, Larry. Go Dubs. Go Dubs. That's right. I can't wait for tonight. I cannot wait for tonight. Giants still losing 1-0 in Marlin land.
And you know who's had the best ABs of the day?
Who's that?
Joey Bart.
Good.
He got a hit. Then he was 0-2 and worked it all the way to a walk. Hey, what? Maybe I don't know. Really don't know what to say.
Go Joey Bart, man. We need Joey Bart to step up. Rye, we'll see you later on tonight.
See you later tonight.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one.